The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 23rd day of January 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit, let you know what's trending in her news for the day. Hey, real quickly, folks, before we jump into today. So we were talking real briefly yesterday about cable and having cable, not having cable. And I must say, my colleagues in the Daily Hour, all my boys and my boys, and my boys, and all my chat groups, I went around yesterday asking various chat groups, hey, does anyone still have cable? We asked the question on LinkedIn. We asked the question so many places. And let me tell you, Daily Hour community, we're supposed to be cool. We're supposed to be like here. We're supposed to be good on the same wavelength. But yet, you all didn't tell me I was like the only brother left with cable TV. And I'm offended because I wouldn't have done that to you. You got Maya making jokes like, oh, you're so 5 years late. Sancho talking about she pulled out a cable like a year ago. All I'm going to say is if I find out something, I ain't going to talk about Sherry, what she did. Yeah. Because Sherry, she knew all this time that if we have T-Mobile, you could have Netflix as a part of T-Mobile. I just found that out like 3 weeks ago. Right? So the next time that I find something out and you all don't know, I'm not going to be like you. I'm going to tell you. You know why? Because that's the nice guy that I am. But if we're going to be a community of people, you got to let me know that nobody messes with cable TV anymore. It's the only way we're going to grow together and be cool together. All right? So let's make that agreement this morning. Yo, something else. Kathy Rogers laughing at me. Said, years ago, Jay, where have you been? Yeah. Apparently, I've been living in the 80s or 90s whenever cable was hot. Awesome Tuesday to you as well, Suzanne Ingham. No, I said I'm not going to be petty. I'm still going to tell you all. I'm not going to be like you all. I'm going to tell you. When I find something out, I'm going to let you know, right? Oh, I look over on Instagram and I see Sherry laughing. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get you back, Sister Sherry. Don't worry. I'm going to get you back. But anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome, I love to say Olympian record holder, the record holder, so many titles, but so many accomplishments. Debbie Jones-Hunter is coming on the show. And if you don't know, this year is an Olympic year. So Paris 2024 and the last Olympics, held a year later in Tokyo, are famous for Bermudians because it's the first time that we had someone representing Bermuda that won a gold medal, being now Dame Flora Duffy. So because it's an Olympic year, we will be having more past Olympians and aspiring Olympians on the show on a regular basis to speak about the experience and, what their hopes are for Bermuda and the Olympics. So looking forward as we have our first guest, Debbie Jones-Hunter, on the show. The Daily Play is a Remember When today, and it doesn't look like I have a colleague, so someone will be joining Kia Vernay, BDA, to enter a draw for Friday to see who's going to be the lucky winner. And please don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, do us a favor real quickly. Before we bring Maya in to see what's trending, just let us give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and make sure you share this link, whether you repost it or retweet it. Share it on Facebook, share the YouTube link with your friends and your family, your colleagues. Just make sure you share it, because this is the first of many important conversations with some of Bermuda's best athletes as a part of our Olympic conversations. All right, let's bring Maya in, see what's trending, see what she has in, coming up in the news. Maya Palacio, greetings, madame.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited that we have Ms. Hunter on today. I love the athletes, love Olympics. So this is exciting. I can't wait to hear about her story, her journey in the 1976 Olympics.
Indeed. Maya, you know what? And I don't mean to age anyone and make Ms. Hunter or anyone feel older. But I know everyone thinks like, I've got this old soul and so on. But I wasn't even born in 76.
Good for you, Jamal.
Okay. All right. Well, we know you weren't born in 76, but I was just saying that, legendary things happened in 76. But anyway, what's trending, lady?
Oh, good morning, everyone. What's trending in your news this morning is the missing teen has been located. Raheem Ray was found not guilty. And questions for the news break actually is, what do you know about media literacy?
All right. Media literacy. Interesting. Well, before you head out, the audience asked for a joke because we made you laugh yesterday. So they said, well, I think we should have one for Maya, right?
Nobody said that.
I'm lying. But hey, I think you want one since you found me yesterday funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, joke time, folks. Here's your Tuesday pick me up. Oh, it's a good one. Here we go. All right, Maya. How did the little dog feel when he saw a monster?
How did the little dog feel when he saw a monster? I don't know, Jamal. How did the dog feel?
He was terrified. Get a small terrier? No?
Yeah.
No, didn't.
That one didn't hit like yesterday. Sorry.
Okay. We'll see you later, Maya.
Okay.
Well, folks, we didn't do it today. We can't get 2 days in a row. I mean, we got one. Terrified, like terrified. No, didn't work out. No. Thank you, Suzanne Ingram. We appreciate you. Thank you. All right, we've got to have a conversation, folks. So someone in the audience sent something yesterday. They said, "Hey, Brother Jamal, have you seen this?" And I said, "No, I actually don't go on Burn News to look at news. So unless someone sends me something, I didn't." And so I looked at this story on Burn News, folks. And this story titled "Poll Results, Politics, CARICOM, Economy, and More." And basically, a company called Global Research conducted a poll to gauge voters' opinions on governance and social issues in the country. And the spokesperson said Global Research is the market research leader for all sectors in Bermuda. Global Research conducted a poll with a representative sample of 402 registered voters, 402 registered voters from December 15th to the 23rd, 2023. The aim of the poll was to determine voters' opinions toward governance and social issues in Bermuda. Here are some of the key findings, folks. Here are the key findings. Listen up. 8% stated that they were confident in the direction that Bermuda's economy was headed, compared to 69% who said that they were not confident. The economy, unemployment, 42%, education, 15%, housing, 14%, and crime, 11% were named as top issues facing Bermuda. 6% stated that they supported independence in Bermuda, while 63% opposed it and 31% were unsure. 19% stated that they supported Bermuda becoming a full member of CARICOM, 31% opposed it, and 50% were unsure. 14% approved of the PLP's performance as government, 58% disapproved, and 28% were unsure. 13% of the OBA's performance approved of the OBA's performance as opposition, 48% disapproved, and 40% were unsure. 16% approved of David Burt's performance as premier, 59% disapproved, and 26% were unsure. 18% approved of Jerrion Richardson's performance as opposition leader, 17% disapproved, 65% were unsure. And if an election were held today, 27% stated they would vote PLP, 25% stated they would vote OBA, and 18% stated that they were unsure. We're going to discuss these results, folks. Question of the morning is, what are your thoughts on the recent poll results? What are your thoughts on the recent poll results? And let's ask this question first. This was based on that poll. Do you have confidence in opposition leader Jerrion Richardson? Do you have confidence in opposition leader Jerrion Richardson? Just a quick yes or no. Do you have confidence in the opposition leader Jerrion Richardson? Yes or no? Do you have confidence in the opposition leader Jerrion Richardson? And according to this poll, 18% approved of Jerrion Richardson's performance as opposition leader, 17% disapproved, and 65% were unsure. 65% were unsure. Do you approve of Jerrion Richardson's leadership? We've got Aaron Chucker Spears says no. He doesn't approve of Jerrion Richardson's leadership as opposition. What are your thoughts? Do you approve of Jerrion Richardson's leadership in the opposition? Do you approve? Now, as I look at this, I look at the 65% were unsure. I actually think that's more concerning than the 18% approve. And the reason is 16%, only 16% approved of David Burt's performance, but only 26% were unsure. 59%, so pretty much 60% disapproved of David Burt. Only 17% disapproves of Jerrion Richardson. So the OBA, if I'm the OBA and I'm looking at this, we have got to ensure that our leader and our party are doing more to sway people, because an unsure person can be swayed. That's like the independent voter, right? Those are the people you focus on. The OBA needs to do some deep diving and figure out, because look, regardless of how you feel about the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party, right? If you look at this poll, 14% approve of the PLP, right? 28% were unsure. Now, OBA, 13%, so 1% less approve of the OBA performance as opposition, but 40% were unsure. So if I'm looking at this number as just general member of the public, and then I look at it as, and I'm saying, man, the OBA has a chance to change a lot of people's minds. But what are they doing? The PLP is literally there to be beaten. They're there for the taking. This is 2012 all over again. But the difference is the OBA cannot rely on people not voting to get in power. And if you're relying on that, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just not quite sure that's going to happen. Audience, you're quiet this morning. I know it's political and you probably don't want to share your opinions publicly, but do you have confidence in opposition leader Jerrion Richardson? Yes or no? Do you have confidence that he can get the job done? Michael Daniels, I agree. He says too many unsure. Unsure with the OBA, really. That to me is an opportunity. If I'm the OBA, that many people are unsure, then you need to do something differently. You need to do something differently. The PLP are there for the taking. They are there. It's like, and I'm going to use a football analogy, not sure how many people watch football, but let's use Manchester United, right? Manchester United has been one of the most vulnerable clubs over the last decade. It's a place where people thought you go to Old Trafford, you're just going to be beaten. It's a matter of how many goals you get beaten by. Now teams are going there. we can beat this team. This is not Manchester United of old, right? I say that really because the OBA seem to lack confidence that they can go out and change people's minds and win an election. The PLP, based on poll results, based on feeling in Bermuda, are there for the taking. Now, on the other end, and let us know, I mean, do you have confidence in Premier David Burke's leadership? Do you have confidence in Premier David Burke's leadership? Now, again, if I'm the PLP, we have to change that disapprove that to approved. We need to take that approval level up. Or are the PLP in today's day so arrogant that they feel like, look, maybe we'll lose a few seats, but we'll never lose the government, so who cares? Is that how they feel? Is that how they're thinking? Yeah, okay, we'll lose a few seats, but we'll still maintain government. Do you approve of, do you have confidence in David Burke's leadership? Do you believe that David Burke as premier is the man to lead Bermuda? Aaron Chaka Spears says OBA is not a viable alternative in my view. We heard the Honorable Mark Bean, recently state that, and based on the amount of people who are unsure, right, many would agree. But what I would say to that is I don't think the PLP is a viable alternative, nor the OBA. So if both are not viable, the PLP is not a good government. Let's just call it what it is. They're not a good government. So we're stuck with what we're stuck with, right? Suzanne Ingham says, I don't know anything about Jarian. So again, maybe the OBA needs to do something differently. Maybe they need to let their PR people do some things that put him out there and change the image. It means something, right? It means something. Charles H. Jefferson II says, does unsure equal apathy? I think it is a part of apathy. I think people are just not interested. And again, Charles, the thing is the OBA benefited from that in 2012, in my opinion, right? They benefited from this. They're not in, look, anyone who follows politics or understands politics, I don't think going in with that same strategy is going to benefit them this time around. They need to win the election. I'm not quite sure that they can just hope that the PLP lose the election. I'm not quite sure they can. It could happen. It could happen. I'm not quite sure that it will. I'm not quite sure it is. Audience, let us know. Do you have any confidence in David Burke's leadership as premier? Yes or no? Do you have any confidence in David Burke's and what are your thoughts on his poll results? Do you take them seriously? Like, what are your thoughts on those poll results? Do you have any opinion on these poll results? Do you think that they accurately reflect how, Bermudians in your circle feel? Do they reflect how you feel? Do you believe that it is an accurate reflection of the community today? Burmy Girl says, no confidence in David Burke as premier. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, OBA lack confidence. People are arrogant and bullies. I don't have confidence in either. Mark Bean's group need to get moving and fast. And she goes on to say, no, I don't have confidence in his leadership. So look, we're going to bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. But I think that those poll results, and we'll talk about some other things in there in coming episodes. They mentioned CARICOM, independence. Fascinating to me, fascinating that I felt like toward the end of the 90s into the early 2000s, Bermudians were actually interested in independence of some sort. And I just think poor governance has led us to a place where we're so far from it that people wouldn't even consider it. So do us a favor, folks. Make sure you hit the like button, love button. Make sure you share this episode. We've got one of Bermuda's most special talents coming up, have a conversation with us following the news break. Debbie Jones-Hunter coming up, having a conversation. I think we're going to learn some things that all of us should be proud of today. So Don't go anywhere, and let's see what Maya's got for us in her Daily Hour news break.
Good morning again.
Greetings, MP. How's it going? MP, I felt like you held your laugh until you went off camera. So thank you for your response to this morning's terrified joke.
Let it go, Jamal.
Okay. I tried.
That's okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting out the news this morning. So the 15-year-old Raquel Sofia Souza Sucria has been located, and the police say that she has been found safe and well.
Maya, and I said this to you offline yesterday. I honestly, and this is an unfortunate reality, and we were talking about it in our Daily Hour chat yesterday, is I did not know she was missing again. And I feel like, and it's unfortunate that it's almost like these shootings in Bermuda, how people have just lost interest, become apathetic to it. I feel that's where we've come because she goes missing so much. And I really hope that's not the case. I really hope whatever it is that she's dealing with, that as a community, we can help her get through it. But I just hope that whenever a child is missing, we don't lose interest and just throw our hands up and say, whatever, she's doing it again. You get me?
I completely understand. Yeah, I completely get you.
Yeah. But I'm glad that she has been located safely.
Yes, indeed. Now, in other news, following the trial in the Supreme Court, Raheem Ray has been found not guilty of the murder of Asaji Bascom. Now, after a trial that began earlier this month, the jury of 10 women and 2 men returned the verdict of not guilty the other day. Both families reacted to the verdict in court with tears and some shouting. A report coming from the Gazette said that several of the Ray family, including his mother, fell to their knees and started praying, thanking God for the verdict. Members of the Bascom family shouted in disbelief and anger. One woman accused the jury of being wicked people and was escorted out of the courtroom, and Mr. Ray himself fought back tears as he thanked Assistant Justice Mark Pettingill, who oversaw the trial, for his release. Ray left the courtroom escorted by police and surrounded by his family.
This is one of those unfortunate situations. And I just want to remind people, I was not there and I didn't follow the trial. So I'm not going to give an opinion on this. I did not follow the trial. It's to the point where in one of my chat groups, I didn't even know what they were talking about because, again, Maya has reported on it, but I haven't gotten into it like I was in the Chevelle Dylan Burgess case, right? And I'm going to be honest with you folks. Remember, I was sick. I was very sick. So you have to decompress. But I say all of that to say this, and just hear me out. Hear me out, not just with your ears, but with your heart. The purpose of a trial is to find justice, not to convict someone. I was not there. I don't know what evidence was presented. But what I do know is what Maya Palacio said yesterday. I believe she said there were about 80-something people there.
83. Yeah.
83. But how many people came forward as witnesses? She said 1. I say that, folks, because a not guilty verdict, if it's justice, then it's justice. We cannot just find people guilty simply because we want a conviction. We can't. Now, that said, my hope is that Mr. Bascom's not going in vain. We need to find justice for this family and for himself. And if you know something, say something. Because if it were your family or loved one, that's what you would want.
I would also encourage everyone to read the full story on the Gazette. It's quite in depth that talks about even, what Mr. Asaji Bascom's brother had said about what happened during that night. And it even went into saying that there was also an altercation outside the Supreme Court the day prior against Mr. Ray as well. So there was a lot going on in that case, and I don't think this is the last that we're going to hear about it in the news.
I just want to send love to both families, and I really, really, really hope that our community does what it needs to do to ensure that justice is served in this case.
Indeed. Now, in other news, the city of Hamilton is advising members of the public that there is currently scaffolding in place in the city hall foyer while investigative infrastructure works are taking place to ensure that the safety of city hall staff and visitors. Furthermore, the city will be placing clear signage within the halls as well in the lobby for guides and visitors as well. But yeah, just expect that this will be, closed off a little bit and for repairs.
Okay. I have nothing to go there for, but folks, be careful.
Yes, definitely. And another news too, another closure going down right now. The WER Joel Tennis Stadium is temporarily closed for upgrades. Now, you may know this if you are someone who does pickleball a lot or plays tennis around there, then this will affect your day in and day out. Well, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and Sport announced that the temporary closure of the WER Joel Tennis Stadium effective the 23rd, so today, for a period of 2 weeks. The closure is due to much anticipated restructuring of the courts, and also they're going to add in some additional lights so that people can play longer during the nighttime evenings. Indeed. And then my last bit of news for you guys when it comes to just overall things that you could probably take part in the community. Well, government is actually doing some sessions to help with the strategic planning of aim to end homelessness in Bermuda. And the first session is today for anyone who wants to go out to it. And the topic has to do about how do people become homeless and what are the causes. They want people who obviously are in these situations, but also who are passionate and care about these situations to come out and give them perspective and advice as well. If you are interested in going, it's at the Chamber of Commerce tonight at 6 p.m. Again, 6 p.m. tonight. And the topic is how do people become homeless and what are the causes?
Well, participate, learn, and engage, folks.
Indeed. Now, out here, most of you know that I am living in Toronto as well, and I am shadowing under Akil Augustine. He's a producer for the Raptors and also does a lot when it comes to social media. And recently, he's been teaching classes about media literacy. Like I said earlier, what do we know about media literacy and how much do you know about it? Well, here's a small clip of a course that he is teaching, and I got to be there to view it.
Does it cost you any money to be on Instagram or TikTok? And it's one of the coolest things out, right? So normally, when you get access to something really cool, don't you have to pay? Like if you want to go to a Raptors game, you have to pay, right? If you want to get Spotify, you got to pay. These are cool things. These are things you want to do. Why don't you have to pay to go on Instagram or to go on TikTok? Yep.
You're paying with yourself.
Absolutely. You're paying with your attention. That's the attention economy.
Every day, we discover something new about the impacts of social media on our lives. And Akil Augustine is educating people on what was once called a silly app that turned into one of the most money-making platforms of our generation.
And what was that app?
That will be Instagram and TikTok.
I'd like to know how that's changed, because YouTube makes people so much money without a great following.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out if you don't have a how do you monetize Instagram? Like one of the things Elon Musk said that when he took over Twitter was that he wanted people to make money for their content. How do you make money on Instagram and TikTok like YouTube? YouTube, literally, all you have to do is have 100 subscribers and long thing. How do you do that on Instagram, TikTok?
Well, I don't want to give a lot away, but basically a lot of it was talking about how much these businesses make off of this and how you can do it for yourself. So that's kind of how the media literacy was working. But I also talked about mental health and everything that encompasses having these devices that are on our phone, in our hands every single day, and what we use them for and how they affect us.
Oh, yes, that's important.
Yeah,
it's important, folks.
And closing out with your sports, you may have caught it, but I had Dej Miners on Media Maya Live. And here's a small clip of the athlete who is also in the works and trying to qualify for that 2024 Olympics. He's obviously going to go for the 1500 meter. That's his thing. So let's hear a quick glimpse of what I had to say with him when we finished the Front Street Mile in Bermuda, and his response to a question that I had to ask him. Do you feel like you're being challenged enough on Ireland with like the amount of caliber of competition that we have?
Yeah, that's a tricky question. Like, yeah, I'm getting challenged. That race was challenging, and I didn't pay too much attention to the time. I don't know if you saw the race, but I kind of celebrated a little bit with like 100 meters to go. So that was definitely a few seconds added on. But it runs probably like 15 to 12 seconds slower than on an actual like indoor track or outdoor track. So I think to run that 420 with some celebrating, we tripped up a few times. So I think it builds well. And yeah, I'm not going to downplay the competition because those guys pushed me right through. And yeah, I was glad that they was able to come down.
I saw something interesting. Mark Morrison, I think that his name, Mark Morrison. He's a runner, and he returned to Bermuda to run in that weekend. And he made a very interesting comment regarding in Bermuda they focus on positions, not times.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying to someone, I wondered if Dage would be happy with his time, knowing that he did a sub-4 last year indoor track. And someone's like, "Well, why? He came first." And I'm like, Bermudians, it's so true. Like, everything's focused on first, second, third. To make it the Olympics, I'm pretty sure time is more important than position. I could be wrong, but we have someone coming on that can explain to me. But I'm pretty sure time is the most important thing. I could.
Yeah, and I know that Dave said that he has to focus on his world ranking, I believe, in order for him to qualify. So there's all different types of categories. Like when I talked to the swimmers, man, theirs was different, mainly focused on, theirs was mostly on position. But yeah, triathletes, again, world ranking, time. So it's different for each like athlete trying to make it into the Olympics and what their results qualify them to actually get there. So it's going to be interesting. Like we only know that Adriana Penodal, who's on my screen, is the only one who has qualified so far for the 2024 Olympics. We know that we're going to get Dame Flora Duffy. Fingers crossed. We love her. So hopefully.
Is she injured right now? I haven't heard anything about her.
I haven't had a full update on Dame Flora Duffy at the moment, so I don't want to say anything that is incorrect. But yeah, we still have some other athletes that can potentially make it. It'll be nice to have more than two than what we had in the 2020. So looking forward to more discussions on that.
Well, I'm not making it this year, folks. You ain't got to worry about. I've got an injury. I'm injured this year, so I won't be at the Olympics.
All right, so now I'm going to close it up with the weather so we can bring in our guests because I can't wait for this conversation. But today it's looking like mix of sun and clouds, winds variably light, but mainly heading toward northwesterly. And tonight we have a low of 56, but today we have a high of 64 out there.
All right, real quickly, Maya, I just want to address something. Shannon Trott, he said that you're failing to understand that there is a major distrust in this justice system and it isn't as easy as you're making out to come forward and provide information to corrupt system. Actually, this is where usually I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to go back 2 years and address you. First, don't come on and talk about I'm failing to misunderstand anything. You don't know what I'm speaking of or where I'm speaking from. I speak from my own experiences as a person who has come forward and landed one of their best friends in prison for using my name. So don't tell me what I'm failing to understand, what I do understand, and what I don't understand. All right? That's number one. Number two, I completely understand why people don't come forward. I get it. As a person that has used their own money, still paying a $250,000 bill which fought against this very corrupt system you're talking about. I've done it. All right. So let me just say this. I still don't believe this is an excuse today, tomorrow, or the next day to let someone die and not bring them justice. It goes beyond the system at times. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses knowing what I've done, what I do, and what I will continue to do. I hope I've made that clear, and there's no need for a back and forth because I've addressed it. Maya, do you know what today is? It's days of the year.
I have no idea what today is, Jamal. Educate me.
All right. Today, in the US at least, it's National Pie Day. So Pie Day was started in the 1970s by Charlie Papazian. Papazian worked as a nuclear engineer in Boulder, Colorado, but also had experience as a brewer and teacher. We're not sure why he decided to do it, but he declared that his birth date would also be known as National Pie Day. Everyone seemed to agree. Who wouldn't agree to a Pie Day, right? Ever since 1986, it's become an official celebration that's even sponsored by the American Pie Council. So that brings us to the question, audience. Maya, what is your favorite kind of pie?
I'm going to go with the classic apple pie, but I do love a pumpkin. I do love a pumpkin.
I knew someone was going to say it. Charles says cassava pie.
Okay, you got me.
I'm gonna go. If I had a favorite pie, well, we've got apple pie. Amber Map says apple pie is goated.
Yeah.
See, I would have went. I'm not gonna say pumpkin now. You know what I'm gonna say? Somebody said lemon meringue, right?
Meringue.
merengue, whatever,
Moing, yes.
and another person that's pumping. You all know my English ain't that expensive. Shayna Smith says none of them. Well, I have yours, Shayna. So if I had a pie to choose from, I would probably say apple pumpkin and a meatless cassava.
Charles came in and just out Bermudian us. Out Bermudian us. The cassava pie. Okay.
All right, folks, let us know your favorite pies. Maya, thank you so much. Debbie Jones-Hunter is coming on after this. Really good conversation coming up. Honestly, folks, you're going to learn some things today. Stick with us, and we will go extended if we need to. Yes. Because I feel like these important people and important conversations are necessary. Even as I was reading up on her, I learned some things, and I was like, oh, she's very important. So, folks, stick with us. Maya, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right. Maya Palacio, folks. Stick with us. Quick break. Back with our guest for the day.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that's going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring our guest in for the day. We've got track star, Olympic athlete, Carifta record holder. We've got Debbie Jones-Hunter. Let's give her a warm TDH welcome, audience. Greetings. How are you?
Good morning. I am wonderful. And yourself?
Well, I'm wonderful. You know what? First off, our sincerest apologies. We're a bit late, but hopefully, we can still have our extended conversation because people need to hear from you.
Well, yeah, I will be here to answer, and we have a good chat session going on. Yeah. If I have to return, I can gladly return because the story will never be fully told in a half an hour.
We exactly. We love the sounds of that. So let's just jump right into it. And I want to start because it was not something I was going to ask, but since I kind of just said it, when I was just looking you up, and honestly, I'm just so glad that things are much easier than when I was in school. I don't have to go to the library and look at an encyclopedia. I could just Google some things, right? Mm-hmm. So I was looking up. I was just like, oh, I didn't know this. Carifta? Oh, record holder? Okay, relay? I learned so much about you. I thought, okay, we've got our first conversation with someone who's competed in the Olympics. You've done so many great things. And I think young people, knowing what you've done it could be so inspiring to know, wow, I can possibly do that. I can do that. And I'll give you the example I often use on this show. In 2008, when Barack Obama became the first Black president in the United States, I remember analysts saying at that time, it's the first time, even with Kamala Harris as a deputy vice president, he was saying it's the first time a young Black child can look and say, I too can be that. I can do that. And if young Black girls, they know, like, hey, Debbie Jones-Hunter did this one day. I can possibly do that. When they see that what people have accomplished, it gives them hope. So I just want share like a bit of your journey, like, into track, and you've done well in the Carifta, and you've went off on scholarship to university. Talk to us.
Well, yes, first of all, thank you for having me. Can you hear me clearly? I hope so, because I want to deliver the best message possible. And so basically, at the age of 12, 13, I entered the Berkeley Institute. And I was always pretty well involved in sport. And I love running. I love running track from the very beginning when I was quite young. And Jerry Swan suggested that I go up to the then Robert Crawford, where my love of my life coach, Clive Long, was there training athletes. And that's when I became fully immersed in athletics. And I'm going to say, as my name is Debbie, or my name really is Deborah, but people have always labeled me as Debbie, which is fine. I take it with pride. I have 3 Ds that I used in my life: drive, determination, and dignity. And all of this came over the phase of my sporting career from 1970 until 1980. And so after leaving, traveling around Bermuda, going to the, competing here, then going to the Carifta Games, I went to the Carifta Games from 1972 to 1977. And then after that, I was at the Pan Am Games, competing in a warm-up meet. I only wanted to go to Tennessee State University. That's where Wilma Rudolph's coach Edward Temple coached, and I wanted to excel in track. So digress back, when I went to the Pan Am Games, they had these warm-up meets, and Coach Clive Long said to me, hey, listen, do you want to participate in this runoff race? And I thought, yeah, I saw 2 Americans, a couple of Caribbean athletes. I said, I'm from Bermuda, I can handle this. I got into the race, came third. Luckily for me, the coach from the U.S. team, the Pan Am team, was actually Edward Temple. He came over and offered me a full track academic scholarship to go to Tennessee State. And that's how I got to Tennessee State. That's how I end up being on a Nike sports poster. That's how I end up being a member of the World Racket Relay team. And also, that's how I also became the outstanding athlete for the Carifta Games, the first one in 1977. So I'm here to say that you have to step out on faith. You also have to have an extra bit of gut and grit. And nobody is better than you. And if not you, why not you? Yeah. So that's my journey in a nutshell.
And it's an awesome story. And it's nothing like hearing this story from the person themselves. And, I just hope that somewhere, someone out there is inspired by what you just said. The comments are coming in. And I mean, honestly, it's just amazing. And audience, I'm just going to ask you, I usually don't do this while the guest is on. But if you can do us one favor, share this link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's not every day we get to speak with people like Ms. Jones-Hunter. And I want to say this, if you're not too embarrassed by me saying this, but today, I am so grateful that you chose to come on this show, but especially today, as it is not only your 41st anniversary, but it's your husband's birthday, right?
Oh, yes. We've had years of service. You see, once again, drive, determination, and dignity is all encompassed in my life. But what I do want to say to the youth of Bermuda is that sports is a great avenue for a number of reasons. And one thing you also have to learn is once you become involved in sport, it's okay to step away from your friends who are doing the other things that you may not wish to do. If they are your friends, even through thick and thin, through sport, they will support you. When I came along, we had the Striders Club. There were about 40 of us that Clive Long coached. And I'm here to say, if one of us didn't show up for track training, he either came to find you or we as teammates made sure that you were there. We were always a tight-knit group. We did everything together. We shared the same commonalities. But one thing I will say is that the academic piece is most vital when you're doing sport. You can get a scholarship. You can achieve many goals. But what are you here to better your life with as you leave sport? You're not going to be with sports forever. There's no way. I end up venturing into accounting. And now I'm back with the anti-doping organization. in a financial capacity as well as the chief executive officer. So athletes are very intelligent. Don't ever sell yourself short.
Indeed.
Don't ever sell yourself short. No, always think about your goals and achieving them. And that's how I have always been. Even at now, I'll be 66 in June. I'm still competitive. I'll get out there in the yard with my grandson that's 6, run around, play a little bit of football, do a little bit of tackling, all of that stuff.
Tackling. She's just tackling that.
He comes in and tries to slide tackle me and all of that, and I'm ready. I suffer the pain later. But we have to embrace our lives, and we have to always want to journey to do better. Just don't settle for the normal. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, that all through my career, it was always about doing better. Now, I was blessed, I'm going to say, because I was always able to win many races. And that's difficult. So just like Dej Miner said, the people that compete with you push you farther. My concern was always losing. Like, I never wanted to lose. So I always trained hard. I even trained with some of the guys on our track team. I have to better myself. If you don't push yourself, and it's right, it's not just about places, it is about the times.
Indeed.
And I think that athletes are excited, and we all should be if we're in the top 3. But then what does that top 3 really mean when you look at the global stage of sport?
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, where Bermudian athletes can really fit in. And I know that we may not have all of the facilities here. Well, there's a lot of athletes around the world that are living in different countries to advance their sporting career, technique, times, and all of that. And so a lot of our athletes are doing that. I give them great praise, because it's not easy to leave home and be on your own. Self-sufficient.
I want to shift topics to the Olympics, but we do have a traveling Trotty saying happy anniversary to you.
Yeah, that's my sorority sister. Thank you, Trotty.
Oh, there you go.
That's why I'm got on this pink today.
See, I should have known. I should have known. The pink and green.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. Well, shifting gears real quickly. So 1976, you competed. Well, first off, for those who don't know, just explain to them, what was your specialty? Because the Olympics, I mean, especially track, there's so many different things. Some people may, she was a high jumper, a sprinter. What was your specialty?
Actually, I was a sprinter. I actually ran the 100, 200, and 400. So I was always in overdrive competing, but I actually went to compete in the 100 and the 200. I qualified, was happy I went there. I actually went to the pre-Olympic meet and fared pretty well. But unfortunately, when I got into the 100 meters, in the second round, going into the next round, I actually pulled my hamstring, which was very disheartening because I had put in so many hours to get there. But once again, it's really what your goal is in life. And so even though that was a major disappointment for me, it was not a deterrent, right? Because if it was a deterrent, I would have never gotten to Tennessee State University. And so, those are the journeys that athletes go through, challenges. I wouldn't say it was depressing for me. It was more of just a disappointment because I already knew I had the talent and the ability to continue on. I just needed to pick my soul up, find peace and move on. And that's what I did. And the rest is history,
Indeed.
Yeah.
And from 1976 to now, how do you believe when you look at the Olympics, how do you believe they've evolved from your time competing?
Well, there's some super fast times. We see that. There's a lot of chit chat about the influence of drugs in sport. The Olympics has grown vastly, and I'm glad that it become very diversified. They've included a whole lot more sports because, when you're in the Olympics back in the day, you think that it's just about your sport or a few more. But we have opened up and embraced many other athletes. It's become much more commercialized. as you can see with Usain Bolt, Jamaica, the US, the commercials now, because they are here trying to attract an audience, because track is not the most, as they say, sexy sport to watch on the tube, but that's why it's become much more commercialized. But I have to say this much: the athletes are awesome when it comes to competition. How much they have advanced, the different areas where you can grow, where you can finesse your sport. I only wish that I was competing in this era, because it's just so much they have to offer. But if one looks at video back 1920s and come forward, and they're like, oh my goodness. And I think that the appreciation is if people will do that. Because I'm so looking forward to Paris 2024. I tell my son, my daughter, my husband, do not talk to me. I'm not cooking. I am on that TV. No matter where it is, I wake up to watch it, and I go to work looking a little moldy, but I'm ready. But I mean, Paris, I think that is going to be one of the best, because you have some athletes coming back to defend their titles. We have Dame Flora Duffy. I think that hopefully Dej will get there. Janai Parent-Chief. I mean, I just think that Bermuda should do a service to this country, Bermudians, and watch the Paris 20 Olympics.
Yeah, you just mentioned some names, right? And I'm glad you touched on what we spoke on earlier about, position versus times. And when you think back, to that time, what went into preparing to compete on the world stage? I know you suffered from an injury when you got there, but what went into preparation? Because I think, again, I haven't watched Deja's full conversation with Maya. She shared a snippet of it, but I can only imagine the prep. Some people may think it's just, on the track. Like, what goes into it?
Well, a background for me, we always had to do cross country in the fall. That was between September and December. So we had to run cross country. At Tennessee State, I had to run in Converse basketball, Converse shoes with weights in them. Then after that, we would then come and do our pre-training for indoor track. So we were traveling quite a bit. And then after that, we would basically get into our spring program where we had to run a number of sprints in the time allotted. If you didn't run the event in the time allotted, for instance, we had to start at 800. Even though I'm a sprinter, we started at 800, come down to 600, come down to 400, come down to 3, 2, 1, and a 50. At Tennessee State, if we didn't get the first time or the second time, we had to start all over. Even if you got down to the 200 meter and you didn't make that time, he would make you go right back up to the 8 and start all over. My training sessions were average of 3 hours every day. Now here, when I was in school at Berkeley, we trained from 4 to 7. Had to go home, still get your homework done, and come back for training. We had weight training. It was just constant pushing our bodies, and we only had one day off. That was the Sunday. So we trained from Monday to Saturdays. When I went to Tennessee State, we were traveling on the weekends at track meets. I still had to get my work done. So, there was a lot of pushing. There was a lot of digging in. And I'm going to say this much, a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. Because I remember there were plenty times that I was up at that national stadium when I was young. And I was just so nauseous. And Coach Long would say, girl, just go over, get over there in the bushes, just throw up and come on back. I go up in the bushes, throw up, wipe my mouth, come on back. Because it's always about being goal driven. And athletics, anything, athletics, swimming, triathlon, even cricket, football, all of those sports are extremely difficult sports when you have to maintain your level of competition. So I gave up a lot, but I am happy that I gave up a lot because that's was my desire in my life.
You know what's so insane to me is we had Connor Smith on last week or week before, and he spoke of what you just mentioned, and Dame Flora Duffy last January, she spoke of the same thing, and they spoke of the sacrifice that you just mentioned, the sacrifice that you had to make. And I don't think, it goes back to what Kanu said, is a lot of the work that separates the good from the great is what's done when the cameras are off. It's what's done when no one's looking. And that's what I heard in what you just said. But just want to shift, because I want to give time for the audience. We're getting a lot of questions from them as well.
Oh,
but
great.
1976 was when you competed the Montreal Olympics. And that was also the year that Bermuda won its first Olympic medal in boxing via Clarence Hill, the bronze. Last time around, though it was a year later in Tokyo, Dame Flora Duffy won the gold, and it was Bermuda's first gold medal. How important are these accomplishments for an island the size of Bermuda, you think?
Extremely important from many standpoints. From one standpoint, it speaks to Bermudians' ability to achieve greatness, no matter what. Their focus, their determination, even on 21 square miles. Yeah. Because everyone doesn't come along and get into the competition piece. Yeah. Also, it is extremely important because if one really pays attention to the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, it always speaks to the country. So it says, here comes Bermuda, gold medalist Flora Duffy, bronze medalist in boxing Clarence Hill. When you look at the records, it shows Bermuda. So our country is always highlighted, and that is extremely important and makes me extremely proud. Because one thing I can always say, if the country's name is on a record in globally in sports, you can never take that away.
Indeed.
And indeed, that's something that we should continuously celebrate. Continuously. And I'm proud to say, I tell people straight, listen, I have won the most medals in Carifta. You know what country it says? It says Bermuda. I like Trinidad, I like Jamaica and all that, but guess what? What does it say? Bermuda. Can we take that away? Never, never. So always stand proud, always.
Well, speaking of standing proud, thank you to my colleague Maya. She just uploaded this, and I just want to ask, what does this mean to you? When you look at this, what do you think? What does this mean to you, and how do you hope that this inspires other young people who are aspiring track stars?
Yeah, it takes my breath away, actually. First of all, I didn't even know that the photo was going to be taken. So background story, Nike supported Tennessee State Tiger Bells. We were the first Black sprint team in the U.S. And so they supported us. And that picture was actually taken at a live track meet in UCLA. And in fact, that's where I ran one of my fastest times ever. And so I was really, I was proud first that I am a Bermudian and that I was on the poster with two great American sprinters. I was also very proud that it was our team. And mostly I was very proud that at the end of the day, that same poster is now standing in the Civil Rights National Museum in Memphis because Nike honored our team. And now the same two ladies, myself and another lady, will be inducted in the Penn Relays Hall of Fame in April. So I look at that very proudly. And I just hope that eventually other Bermudians will be able to be featured on a sports poster. So, all that grit and determination, it all pays off. I am just blessed because things came all together for me, despite all the hard work and the hardships at times. But I'm extremely proud. And that's one thing next to having my children, being married, grandson, Bermudian. Yes, that is definitely at one of the very top of my achievements, and very proud.
One of the things, and I just
thanks, Maya. Tell Maya thanks.
That
Where did she get that picture from? I want to know.
Hey, look, Maya is a journalist. She finds a way. But I want to say this, listening to you today, and if I had to go on a Daily Hour website just to remember what this show is about. And it says, questions are asked, solutions are discussed, achievements are celebrated, people are honored. And I think when I listen to you today as a Bermudian, I am so happy that you shared what you just did. And my hope is that we repurpose this and share it so that every Bermudian knows and can be there, rather embody your spirit to support and celebrate you being inducted into that Hall of Fame at the Penn. This is stuff that dreams are made of. And, the audience, I mean, they're going crazy over you, and I want to see this in person. This is why this show exists. This is why this show exists. I know people, love to hear my political rants, but that's not why this show exists. And now let's go to the audience, because we do have quite a few comments. And again, you just tell me you got to go, and we're having a part 2. But I love this. I love this. So let's go to the audience. We've got Traveling Trotty asking, how can we motivate young individuals to persist in their chosen sports, and what guidance would you offer them?
First, when we speak about the youth, we have to ensure that the youth has a clear understanding of the sport that they want to be in. Many athletes want to do dual or maybe 3 or 4 sports. If you really want to excel, you do need to focus on one. Some people may say, no, Hunter, they need to have a wide range of just exposure. But what I'm going to say, focusing, because when you set your goals, you need to just stay focused on those goals. I think that also it'd be great to have a sports platform that lists all of the clubs in Bermuda that are available, youth clubs, right, with the representatives, so that the parent and the athlete can have that chat. I also think that we as athletes, the senior athletes, even the ones that are retired, always be available to have a conversation. I had a great conversation on a flight coming back from the minister's forum with a parent whose son is a swimmer, talking about my experience going through university, Berkeley, and moving forward. I think that we should make ourselves a little more accessible. Now, the other piece that I think that's important is that parental support is really, really key. Now, everyone doesn't always have that, but once you get into a sporting group, there is a community there, and then they will then help you to navigate through and give the support, because nowadays parents can't be there all the time. My parents were always there. My mother took me and picked me up from track training all the time, but times are different. People have to work to live in Bermuda right now. It's a struggle. Let's be honest. I'm not going to camouflage it. It is a struggle. So we all can't be there. But the community is what really helps. So if we devise a platform, and this is just a suggestion, from me, that what clubs are out there, because a lot of us don't know. And we get focused on just one sport and not trying to diversify and look at another sport. So I think that may help.
Indeed. We've got Mark Arthur C. Phillips asking, other than Wilma Rudolph, who were some of the other track athletes you looked up to?
I looked up to Wyoming Tigers. Now, unfortunately, but fortunately, many of the women I looked up to actually went to Tennessee State, where I attended, and were gold medalists. Madeline Manning, oh my goodness. And my mother was an athlete, so I always wanted to attain more than what she had, and that was part of my drive. But I think at the end of the day, my drive was to get to Tennessee State to enjoy the fruits of my labor, just like all those other Olympians did. No, I didn't win a gold medal, but I've been part of a world record relay team. So for that, I think that my journey was a great journey. I always wanted a gold medal. I still think about it today. I think that maybe I should have hung around for 1984, but I had graduated, moved on, relocated to the U.S. for a bit, and then came back home. So that's one thing that I really do think about quite often, is where I would have been in 1984 Olympics.
Indeed. We've got a few comments. Charles Henry Jeffers says Debbie played an integral part in putting Bermuda on the athletics map. It's good to be watching her today. It is equally gratifying to know that she is still involved in an official way. And then we also have Karen Simmons.
Thank you.
I have told Debbie this personally. Her name was the one I heard about and looked up to as a young sprinter at Rockhampton and Barkley. Gold House captains Clive Long was a tough coach. And that leads to this, you know, when you look back, what's your fondest memory of, your athletic career? I mean, you Olympics, Carifta, records, pen relays. What are your fondest memories?
My first and most important fondest memory is that I was the first female athlete to win an international medal for Bermuda, that I have become a member, inaugural member of the Bermuda Sports Hall of Fame, because when your country recognizes you, that says a lot. Sporting organizations can do it globally, but that's for the moment. When you do it in your country, it's forever. Becoming athlete of the decade in Bermuda between 1970 and 1979, bringing back the outstanding award for Carifta, which is really, really tough, back from Barbados to Bermuda. Everything was for my country. And I, there are many more, but those will be many of my fondest. But my best achievement ever, in my opinion, is attaining the scholarship to go to Tennessee State that made all of this possible.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You kind of gave some earlier as you spoke about, Dage and my parent chief, but, not even just advice to aspiring Olympians who hope to participate in the 2024 Paris Games, but some young people, it may not be athletics, it may be art, it may be academics. What advice would you give to some younger people who, have aspirations to reach certain heights and they just need that extra push?
Yeah, I am. And I could definitely understand. And I do appreciate that question. I think it's very important because we think that sports is the end all and be all, but it's not. For those youth that have a goal in mind in life, I really do think that we should try to reach out and have conversations and empower them to be strong, to channel their energy into greatness, right? When I say greatness, their greatness, not everybody else's greatness, what you really want to do, right? And I know that a lot of times I bump into, young people and have a conversation. And I always say, darling, it's about you, because you have to think where you want to be later on in life, right? Because everything is short-lived, everything is short-lived. Money comes and goes. That piece of paper that you earned when you go to university is yours and it cannot be taken away. Yeah. And then when you decide to go and look for a job, we have to we in Bermuda have to do a better job of maybe just saying, okay, fine. Here is this athlete, or this young person that's good in art, as she was saying. You see the name when you go to the art display. Reach out. Could be by Instagram. You may know the parent. You may know the aunt. So that people can get access to scholarships. That's the thing, because everyone doesn't have the financial means. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that we can do. Even in my sorority, we have we have a program where we reach out to young women, helping them to bring along. There are other organizations that do the different things for the youth, right? But I think sometimes all of these platforms we put out, like some of these things on TikTok and Insta, but fashion and all that, yeah, well, that comes and goes. Let's put something up with meat and potatoes so that our kids know, oh, I can go and talk to this person. Because that's where all the linkage comes from, That's where I find out, oh my dear. Like I looked on TikTok the other day, oh my gosh, I want to get this truffle purse. So what did I do? I got online. You know what I mean? So just like they reach out to us for things like that, we in Bermuda can have an Insta page. This is where you can go to have a conversation. Because even networking, for me, sometimes it's a challenge. I don't always know where to go. But I also think in the schools, I think that is extremely important, where when the schools also, and the councils are great in Bermuda, but they can only work with what they have. Yeah. So we in this community have to reach out to the schools and say, hey, listen, this is this little group here that's being developed. Let's, if you have any artists, let's bring them in. Now, if they can't get there and transportation is difficult, maybe somebody can say, listen, do I have permission to pick them up or send a taxi or something? We have to really, but we also have to realize that our youth are vulnerable and there are a lot of distractions. So we have to sell our message even more to them. It's this year, and with the pandemic surely didn't help. So I think even on the mental side, we need to be more engaging, thoughtful, respectful, and helpful.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Emily Dill says, so proud of you, Debbie. I've watched you since those early days at Barclay when you and your teammates were making world headlines. You were excellent role models who set the standard for all Bermudians coming behind you in every discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Ski-wee, which I think is the AKA thing. Did I say that?
Yes. It's an AKA thing. Yes, it is.
I as I say when we have AKAs on, I'm sorry if I do it wrong. I'm not supposed to do it. I was just reading. All right.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
My apologies. Says I'm in awe. I'm so inspired and amazed by your career. Thank you for breaking barriers and being the first of so many achievements. This makes me so proud to be Bermudian. Michelle Obama once said that I forgot what the event was. But she said that for the first time she's proud to be American, and it caused a lot of controversy, right, in the U.S. But I say, I've had my issues with Bermuda over the years, but I think conversations like this do remind you why we should be proud to be Bermudian, because there are Debbie Jones-Hunters that exist, people who are doing things. They don't have to be politicians who are out in the front and loud, right?
Yeah.
In the media all the time to
get the work done. Get the work done.
Don't need to be loud to be effective. And so we appreciate you. We've got Donna Rayner saying, good morning, Debbie. You're giving some great advice. Go teammate.
Oh, my girl.
Says, you made Bermuda proud. Thank you. We've got to run. But before you go, what do you want to say to the Bermudian people? Just a message of hope and love before you head out.
The idea that we exist on an island of 21 square miles and we have a lot of talent. It could be hidden, it could be out there. I just want to say that there is an avenue for all of us somewhere in this island. We just have to reach out and grasp it. Step out on faith. Be honest, be true to your country, speak your mind, set your agenda. And at the end of the day, you may not get it immediately. You may not even be here to see it, but just know that it's going to happen. And so I am always happy to come back home. I may go away, but I always like coming back to my Bermudian island. And I think that we are special. We are very, very special. We just kind of put ourselves in a little cocoon, but let's get out of that. And most importantly, let's get into these businesses and let's make a difference. We have a lot of intelligent youth in Bermuda that deserve to be in a lot of areas in Bermuda. I'm just going to speak honestly, because besides being a sports girl, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a business lady, and we need to make sure that we get our foot in places where it is not right now, and always forge ahead, always.
Debbie Jones-Hunter, Bermudian first, and
That's right.
Bermudians coming after. But thank you so much for the conversation this morning. We appreciate you, and we have so much more to talk about. I'm not going to say what, but you have some important roles that you actually do as well. So look forward to having you back soon. But thank you, and again, happy 41st anniversary to you today. Happy birthday to your husband, who I believe I figured out who he is. I met him, great gentleman. I believe he's a Kappa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Yeah, I figured it out over time. So please give him my birthday regards.
Will do. And well, Jamal, thanks for having me. I sure do look forward to coming back. I hope I have given individuals some hope, some wisdom. I hope I've given them a platform to at least to ignite them to do to drive forward for the best. It's never easy, but it's always worth the blood, the sweat, and the tears.
Thank you, madam, and we'll be in touch. You have a wonderful day.
And stay safe.
Thank you. You
everyone in Bermuda, stay safe.
All right, folks. Debbie Jones-Hunter. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, and you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Please share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Again, I did not know almost 75% until I saw that she was coming on this show. I knew not 75% of what she achieved. And that's shame on me. I'm not blaming any school, anybody. That's on me. But I'm so happy that I was able to learn about her. Don't go anywhere. Somebody's going to get me a chance to be eligible to win a prize with us. Do not go anywhere yet. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Let's kick it off in the footwear department. When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic, and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talks, and DeWalt. The list goes on. Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Here with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time? Speaking of stylish, we also have top-quality running, walking, and workout apparel by Skechers in a variety of sizes for men and women. Cool, breathable, and dry. With our wide selection of Skechers footwear, you'll look great before, during, and after your workout. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
You'll be surprised at everything we have to offer at our huge new retail and wholesale location on Bakery Lane.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Debbie Jones-Hunter, a very, very lovely person and great conversation. And folks, if you didn't catch it all, make sure you go back and rewatch it. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. These are the kind of things we need to be celebrating, the kind of people we need to be honoring. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these kind of conversations with you on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, I was going to ask you an Olympic question, but that would be too easy. So we're going to ask you a technology question. Very easy question. First answer that shows up on my screen will be the winner. Here's the question, and the person who gets it first will be eligible to be win the major prize on Friday of this week. Question is, which member of the solar system, now considered a dwarf planet, was first discovered in 1930? I mean, it is Pluto, but you have a question mark there, Amber. And I'm not quite should we give it to Amber, folks? She had a question mark. Should we give it to her? Audience, you let us know. Maya, you can't play. Tay Duncan, yes, it is Pluto. No, it is not Saturn. Marquita Lee, Pluto, it is. Audience, let us know. Should we give it to Amber? You know, this democracy. We ask you. She had a question mark. She asked Pluto. Nope, not Venus. It was Pluto. See, the hint in there was dwarf planet. It's now considered a dwarf planet. All right, so Jonah RC says, yes, give it to Amber. So Amber goes into the draw, and she will be eligible for the prize on Friday. All right, so we've got to get out of here, but before we go, let me just make sure. Yeah, it's Pluto, because someone on Instagram said Jupiter, threw me off. I want to say this before we head out. We had a conversation this morning before we brought Ms. Debbie Jones-Hunter on about the survey. And as far as the way Bermudians feel, there are a lot of people who are unsure about the state of Bermuda politically. But people are very sure about what their greatest concerns are. I think it comes down to, who do you trust to address your greatest concerns? That's what Bermudians need to figure out. As far as Debbie Jones-Hunter, folks, we need to celebrate folks. You know, we have this obsession with an Olympic medal. She's about to be in the Hall of Fame Penn relay. She's got records. And I'm not saying we shouldn't celebrate the medals, but what I'm saying is, let's not ignore those who are doing things just as important. There's no reason we shouldn't know of her accomplishments. And there's no reason we shouldn't continuously be celebrating her and honoring her, not just for what she's done, but what she continues to do. Again, I am grateful and thankful she made time on her 41st anniversary and her husband's birthday. But let's do our part as a community to keep her name flying high and her accomplishments on the tongues of every Bermudian who loves Bermuda and Bermudians. All right, it's time for your daily inspiration before I let you all head out. And here we go. We're going to go with Stevie Wonder today. Daily inspiration, he says, we all have the ability. The difference is in how we use it. Think about that. It's your daily inspiration. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of our daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. I am is out. Peace.